3 years ago, I was standing in a bridal suite, helping my future sister-in-law into her wedding dress, genuinely happy for my brother. Today, I'm sitting in a lawyer's office signing divorce papers, and my brother won't return my calls. I still don't understand how I became the villain in this story, but I guess that's what happens when you're the one who tells the truth nobody wanted to hear. My name's Olivia, and I need to tell you what happened at my brother's wedding. Not the version my family tells at Thanksgiving, where I'm the dramatic one who caused a scene. The real version. The one where I discovered my husband was sleeping with my brother's new wife, and somehow I'm the one who ended up losing everything. I was 31 when this happened, working as a dental hygienist in Portland. My husband Connor and I had been married for 4 years, together for 7 total. We were that couple, you know? The ones who still held hands at restaurants, who had inside jokes that made us laugh at inappropriate times. My friends called us relationship goals. I called us lucky. My brother Ryan is 3 years older than me, and we'd always been close. When he met Amber at a company retreat 2 years before the wedding, I was excited for him. He'd had a string of bad relationships, and Amber seemed different. She was confident, funny, worked in marketing at a tech startup. She had this way of lighting up a room. I wanted to like her. I really did. Looking back now, I can see all the little moments I dismissed. But at the time, I was just happy my brother was happy. Isn't that what we're supposed to do? The wedding was planned for June in Cannon Beach, about an hour and a half from Portland. My parents rented this beautiful house right on the ocean for the wedding weekend. Ryan and Amber would have the master suite, my parents would take the guest room, and Connor and I would stay in the converted attic space. It was going to be perfect. Intimate family ceremony on Friday evening, bigger reception on Saturday. If you want to hear how everything fell apart, keep watching. And if you've ever felt like your whole world shifted in a single moment, hit that subscribe button, because trust me, you're going to want to hear what happened when I found them together. Connor and I drove up Thursday afternoon. He'd taken Friday off work, which was unusual for him. He was a sales manager at an auto dealership, and he normally guarded his toe like it was gold. But he said he wanted to be there for the whole weekend, wanted to support Ryan. I remember feeling grateful, thinking how lucky I was to have a husband who cared about my family. God, I was so stupid. We got to the beach house around 3. Mom was already in full wedding mode, directing traffic, making sure everyone knew where everything was. Dad was grilling salmon for dinner. Ryan and Amber weren't arriving until later that evening. They'd been staying at her apartment in the city, finishing up last-minute details. "Liv, can you make sure the guest room bathroom has those nice towels?" Mom asked, barely looking up from her clipboard. She'd been planning this wedding like it was a military operation. "Sure, Mom." I grabbed Connor's hand. "Come on, let's get unpacked first." The attic room was actually really nice. Sloped ceilings, a skylight, a view of the ocean through the dormer window. Connor dropped our bags and immediately went to look out at the water. "This is going to be a great weekend," he said. I came up behind him, wrapped my arms around his waist. "Yeah, Ryan's finally getting married. Can you believe it? Time flies." He turned and kissed my forehead. "I'm going to run to that store we passed, grab some beer." "Your dad's going to want something other than that craft IPA he buys. You sure? We just got here. Won't take long." 30 minutes tops. He was gone for an hour and 40 minutes. I remember because I kept checking my phone, wondering if he'd gotten lost. When he finally came back, he had 2 six-packs and said there'd been a line at the checkout. That was Cluj Tag 1, though I didn't know it yet. Ryan and Amber arrived around 7. There were hugs, champagne, excited chatter about the ceremony. Amber looked beautiful, glowing in that way brides do. She hugged me tight and said, "I'm so glad we're going to be sisters." I hugged her back. "Me too." Dinner was easy and fun. We ate on the deck as the sun set over the ocean. Dad told embarrassing stories about Ryan as a kid. Mom cried happy tears. Connor seemed quieter than usual, but I figured he was just tired from the drive. Amber kept checking her phone, which I noticed but didn't think much about. Everyone's glued to their phones these days. Around 10, we all went to bed. Early night before the wedding weekend. Connor fell asleep immediately, or pretended to. I lay awake listening to the ocean, feeling this weird unease I couldn't name. Just pre-wedding jitters, I told myself. Everything was fine. Friday morning, I woke up to find Connor already gone from bed. I checked my phone. 7:15. I pulled on shorts and a t-shirt and went downstairs. Mom was in the kitchen making coffee. Morning, honey. Sleep okay? Yeah. Have you seen Connor? I think he went for a walk on the beach. I saw someone heading down the path about 20 minutes ago. In his pajamas? She looked up from the coffee maker. I don't know, sweetie. I just saw someone from the window. I poured myself coffee and went out on the deck. The beach was empty except for a few early morning joggers. No Connor. I called his phone. It rang 5 times, then went to voicemail. He came back 30 minutes later, sandy and slightly out of breath. Hey babe, morning walk. The beach is incredible this early. You didn't tell me you were leaving, you were sleeping. Didn't want to wake you. He kissed my cheek and headed for the shower. That was clue #2. Connor hated morning walks. Hated any kind of exercise, actually. In 7 years together, I'd never seen him voluntarily go for a walk. The day moved forward. Hair appointments for me, Mom, and Amber. Last-minute dress fitting. Picking up the flowers. By 3 o'clock, we were back at the house getting ready for the ceremony. The plan was simple. Ceremony on the beach at 5. Small dinner at a local restaurant after. I was in the master bedroom with Amber and my mom, helping with makeup and hair. Amber's phone kept buzzing on the dresser. Sorry, she said, glancing at it. Wedding coordinator has last-minute questions. You should answer it, Mom said. It's fine. I'll call her back after. But the phone kept buzzing. Finally, around 4:30, she grabbed it. I need to take this. Give me 5 minutes. She went into the master bathroom and closed the door. I could hear her voice, low and urgent, but couldn't make out words. She was in there for almost 15 minutes. When she came out, her eyes were red. Everything okay? I asked. Fine, just wedding stress. That was clue #3. The way she said it, the way she wouldn't meet my eyes. Something felt wrong, but what was I supposed to do? It was her wedding day. Everyone's allowed to be stressed on their wedding day. The ceremony was beautiful. Ryan cried during his vows. Amber looked stunning in her dress. Connor stood next to me, holding my hand, and I remember thinking how lucky we all were. My brother was married. We were a family. Everything was perfect. Except it wasn't. Dinner at the restaurant was nice. More champagne, toasts, laughter. But I kept noticing little things. The way Connor's phone kept lighting up on the table, face down. The way Amber kept excusing herself to the bathroom. The way Connor offered to drive Amber back to the house when she said she had a headache around 9:30, even though Ryan clearly wanted to leave with his new wife. I should go with her, Ryan said. No, stay with your parents, Amber insisted. Connor doesn't mind, right? Of course not, Connor said quickly. Too quickly. Ryan looked uncertain, but Mom jumped in. Let Connor drive her. You stay here with us. It's your wedding night, but we barely got to spend time with you at dinner. So Connor drove Amber back to the house, alone. And I sat there drinking wine with my family, not knowing that my marriage was ending in real time. They were gone for an hour and 20 minutes. When Connor came back, he said Amber had felt sick and he'd waited to make sure she was okay. Ryan left immediately to go be with his wife. The rest of us lingered another 30 minutes before heading back. I didn't suspect anything. I mean, why would I? It was my husband and my new sister-in-law. The idea that anything could be happening between them didn't even enter my mind. But that night, I couldn't sleep again. Connor was restless too, tossing and turning. Around 2 in the morning, I heard footsteps in the house. Someone going downstairs. I figured it was Dad getting water or Mom checking that everything was clean for tomorrow's reception. I got up to use the bathroom. On my way back, I glanced out the dormer window and saw 2 figures on the beach. Far enough away that I couldn't see details, but close enough to see they were standing very close together. Intimate. I watched for a minute, curious. Were Ryan and Amber having a romantic midnight beach walk? Then one of them moved, and I saw the outline clearly. It wasn't Ryan. Ryan's 6'2", broad-shouldered. This person was shorter, slimmer, like Connor. My heart started pounding. I stared harder, trying to make sense of what I was looking at. The two figures moved closer together. Were they hugging? More than hugging? I turned from the window, my hands shaking. I was being paranoid. It wasn't Connor. Connor was right here, in bed. I'd just check. I walked back to our room, as quietly as possible. The bed was empty. Connor's side, sheets thrown back. Empty. I stood there for I don't know how long, just staring at that empty bed. Then I went to the window overlooking the beach access path, and I waited. 15 minutes later, Connor came up the path, alone. Sandy feet, messy hair. He saw me standing there, and the look on his face. God, the look on his face. Guilt and fear and something else. Resignation, maybe. Olivia, he said quietly. Let's talk in our room. Who were you with? Let's not do this here. Please. We went back up to the attic. My whole body was shaking. I wanted him to tell me I was wrong, that I'd misunderstood, that there was some logical explanation. I was just getting some air, he said. Don't lie to me. I saw you on the beach with someone. He sat on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. For a long moment, he didn't say anything. Then, so quietly I almost didn't hear it, I'm sorry. The room spun. Sorry for what? I didn't mean for it to happen. For what to happen, Connor? Say it. He looked up at me, and his eyes were wet. Amber and we've been seeing each other. I actually laughed, like a real laugh, because it was so absurd. That's not funny. I'm not joking, Liv. You're sleeping with my brother's wife? With Amber? It started at their engagement party. We were both drunk, and it just happened. We tried to stop, but what? You just couldn't help yourselves? She's married to my brother. She got married today. I know how bad this is. I sat down on the floor because my legs wouldn't hold me anymore. How long? 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of lies. Of family dinners where they'd sat across from each other acting normal. Of wedding planning where Connor had helped Ryan with his vows. Of me, clueless and stupid, thinking everything was fine. Does Ryan know? No. You let him marry her. You stood there today and watched him marry her. And you're sleeping with her? We tried to break it off before the wedding. That's what the fight was about yesterday. She wanted to tell Ryan, call off the wedding. I convinced her not to. I thought we could end it after, just let him have his day. How generous of you, I said. I was crying now, ugly crying, but I felt weirdly detached. Like I was watching this happen to someone else. I have to tell him. Connor's face went white. You can't. Not this weekend. It'll destroy him. You destroyed him. You both did. Please, Liv. Wait until after the reception tomorrow. Give him one good day. I stared at my husband, this man I'd loved for 7 years, and I didn't recognize him. Get out of this room. Where am I supposed to go? I don't care. Sleep on the beach for all I care. Just get away from me. He left. I sat on that floor until sunrise, trying to figure out what to do. Tell Ryan immediately? Wait, pretend everything was fine for the reception? Every option felt wrong. Around 6, I heard people starting to move around downstairs. I washed my face, tried to make myself look normal, and went down to the kitchen. Mom was making pancakes. Dad was reading the paper. Everything looked so painfully normal. Morning, honey, Mom said. Big day. The reception's going to be beautiful. I opened my mouth to tell her. Right there, just say it. Your new daughter-in-law is sleeping with my husband. But the words wouldn't come. Ryan came down a few minutes later, grinning. Morning, baby sis. Can you believe I'm actually married? Yeah, I managed. Crazy. Where's Connor? He went for another walk. He's really into this beach life, huh? I excused myself and went back upstairs. I couldn't do this. I couldn't stand there and make small talk while my world was falling apart. I called my best friend Sarah, told her everything. She told me I had to tell Ryan that he deserved to know. Before the reception, I need to know what you think I should have done. Would you have told your brother immediately? Would you have waited? Hit that like button if you think you would have handled this better than me. Because honestly, I still don't know if I did the right thing. The reception was at the house, starting at 3. There was a catering tent, a small band, maybe 40 guests. I got through hair and makeup on autopilot. Amber kept trying to talk to me, but I couldn't look at her. Connor stayed outside, helping set up chairs. Around 2:30, I found Ryan alone on the deck. "Hey," he said, pulling me into a hug. "Thanks for being here. Means the world to me." "Ryan, I need to tell you something." "Sure, what's up?" I looked at my brother, at his happy face, and I just couldn't. "Not yet. I'm really happy for you." He smiled. "Love you, sis." "Love you too." The reception started. Speeches, dancing, cake cutting. I drank wine and smiled and played my part. Connor kept trying to catch my eye, but I ignored him. Amber looked nervous, checking her phone constantly. Mom kept commenting on what a perfect day it was. Around 7, as the sun started setting, I saw Connor and Amber talking near the house. Close together. Urgent. I watched them, and something inside me just snapped. I was done protecting everyone else's feelings. I was done being the good sister, the understanding wife. I walked over to them. Having a nice conversation? They jumped apart. Amber's face went red. "Olivia, save it." I turned to the party. Most people were on the other side of the tent, but a few nearby guests were starting to notice. Everyone should know that these two have been sleeping together for 6 months. The words came out loud and clear. The nearby conversation stopped. People turned to stare. "Olivia, don't," Connor said. But I was already moving toward Ryan, who was talking to our dad. "Ryan, I need to tell you something about your wife." Amber was crying now. "Please, let me explain." "Explain what?" Ryan's face was confused, not understanding yet. "What's going on?" So I told him. Right there, at his wedding reception, with 40 people watching. I told him that Connor and Amber had been having an affair. I told him it had been going on for 6 months. I told him I'd seen them together last night on the beach. Ryan just stared at me. Then at Amber. Then at Connor. "Is this true?" His voice was so quiet. Amber was sobbing. "Ryan, I'm sorry, is it true?" "Yes." The silence that followed was horrible. Then Ryan turned to me, and his face was... I can't even describe it. Anger, betrayal, but also something else. Something that looked almost like blame. "You did this at my wedding? You couldn't wait one day?" What? You had to ruin my wedding day? You couldn't pull me aside privately?" "Ryan, they've been lying to you for months. And you knew last night. You could have told me before the ceremony, before any of this. But instead you let it happen. Let me have this whole day, and then you blow it up in front of everyone?" I felt like I'd been slapped. I was trying to protect you. By humiliating me in front of my friends and family? By making this some kind of public scene? I'm not the one who cheated, but you're the one who made it a spectacle. He turned to Amber, his eyes wild. "And you, my wife. We've been married for 24 hours. Ryan, please, get out, both of you. Connor, Amber, get out of my sight." They left. Just like that. Amber crying, Connor's face blank. They walked to his car and drove away together, and I stood there watching my family fall apart. My mom was crying. My dad looked like he'd aged 10 years. And Ryan was staring at me like I was a stranger. "You should have told me privately," he said again. "You didn't have to do it like this." "I'm sorry. I didn't know what to do. You made this about you. About your drama. You couldn't just let me have one day." He walked away from me. The reception basically ended after that. Guests made awkward excuses and left. My parents tried to salvage something, but it was over. The whole beautiful day, destroyed. That night, I sat in the attic room alone. Connor didn't come back. I called him a dozen times. No answer. Finally, around midnight, he texted, staying at a hotel with Amber. We need to talk tomorrow. We need to talk. Like we were going to have some reasonable conversation about this. I drove back to Portland the next morning. My parents barely said goodbye. Ryan wouldn't even look at me. I'd expected support. Expected them to understand that I was the victim here too. Instead, I was the one who'd ruined everything. Connor came home 3 days later to get his stuff. He said he and Amber were going to try to make it work. He said he loved her, that they hadn't meant to fall in love, but it had happened. He said he hoped I could forgive him someday. I told him to get out. The divorce took 6 months. Connor and Amber stayed together. They actually stayed together. She annulled her marriage to Ryan, and 3 months after that, she and Connor got an apartment together. Ryan didn't speak to me for almost a year. When he finally did, it was through a therapist. Family therapy, where my parents explained how hurt they were by the way I'd handled things, how I'd made a private matter public, how I'd humiliated Ryan. I tried to explain that I'd been devastated too, that my husband had been cheating on me with my sister-in-law, that I'd found out the night before and didn't know what to do. You knew the night before and you didn't tell me, Ryan said. You let me wake up married to her, let me go through that whole morning thinking everything was fine. I was trying to figure out the right way. There was no right way after I married her. You should have told me before the ceremony. And maybe he was right. Maybe I should have woken him up at 2 a.m, told him everything, let him call off the wedding. But I'd been in shock. I'd been trying to process that my own marriage was over. I'd been trying to spare him pain, and instead I just made it worse. My relationship with my family never really recovered. We're polite now. We see each other on holidays. But it's not the same. Ryan's dating someone new, a nice woman named Julia, who I've met twice. He keeps her away from family events as much as possible. My parents invite me to things, but always seem disappointed when I show up. Connor and Amber got married last year. I wasn't invited, obviously. I heard about it through mutual friends. Part of me wanted to feel vindicated, wanted to think it would fall apart. But from what I hear, they're actually happy. They bought a house. Amber's pregnant. And I'm alone. I've dated a few people. Nothing serious. Most of my friends took Connor's side, said I was too dramatic, too public about everything. Sarah stuck by me, thank God. But it's lonely. I replay that weekend constantly. Would it have been better if I told Ryan immediately that first night? Would it have been better if I'd waited until after the reception, pulled him aside privately? Or was there no good way to deliver that kind of news? I thought I was doing the right thing by exposing the truth. I thought people would understand that I was hurting too, that I deserved support. Instead, I became the person who ruined her brother's wedding. The dramatic one. The one who couldn't handle things maturely. Some days I think they're right. Some days I think I should have handled it differently. But other days, I remember standing there at that reception, watching Connor and Amber whisper to each other, watching everyone celebrate this lie, and I think, why should I have protected them? Why was it my job to keep their secret? I don't have a good answer. I still don't know if I did the right thing. All I know is that 3 years ago, I had a husband, a brother, and a family. Now I have a 1-bedroom apartment, a cat named Steve, and a therapist who says I need to work on forgiving myself. So that's my story. The story of how I found out my husband was cheating with my sister-in-law and somehow became the villain. Some people say I should have kept quiet longer, handled it privately. Others say I should have spoken up sooner. I'm still not sure what the right answer was. What would you have done? Would you have told your brother immediately? Would you have waited? Would you have made a scene at the reception? Or would you have protected the wedding day? Let me know in the comments. And subscribe to Revenge Saga for more stories of betrayal, family drama, and impossible choices. Because sometimes, telling the truth costs you everything.